My name is LazRael Lison. I'm a director, writer, producer, and co-founder of Summer House Pictures.
First of all, I want to congratulate you on the success that you've had with this film, Finding Faith.
Thank you, thank you.
And now we're moving into another chapter with the new release on Hulu.
Yes, yes.
So I'd like to ask you, what inspired you to write Finding Faith?
When Finding Faith came to me, like most things I write, it just, in life, people go through so many struggles, man. Life hit people so many different directions. And this whole concept came to me like, when life hits you like it hits this character, you got two choices. You can lay down or you can get back up. And in this case, this character went through so much stuff in her life that she just wasn't prepared for. She went to church because her husband did, but it just through this experience, she developed her own personal relationship with God, man. And I just think this industry needs so many more projects like this. Not a preachy one, but just something that's showing when life knocks you down. Stay down for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Stay down for a minute. It's okay to stay down, waddle, and all that. But at some point, get back up, get back in the game.
No, that's very important because being able, as we say, people can say a lot of things and preach a lot of things, but when you actually see it and see the example of somebody that's been through something and how they went forward with it, it inspires you to know that, hey, I can bounce back and that there is a tomorrow after this bad today.
Because, man, success, getting anywhere in life, man. One thing I learned, and when people first start out trying to be successful, this is the one thing that they have to understand. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You got to be willing to step into the fire because it ain't going to be, you're going to get lots of rejection. You're going to get people, things that you thought was for you, ain't for you. And then as time go by, I remember one of my other partners, who's my brother, he basically told me a long time ago when I first got into this business and I was going through so much, he said, you got to go through it. He said, when you look back at it, when years go by, when you look back at it, you're going to appreciate that. You're going to appreciate that. And I look back at some of them, many of them early industry struggles was the greatest thing ever happened to me because now I look at it like, wow. I look at it like, wow, because it prepared me for everything now. And I love being uncomfortable. I love it because it's just like writing. When I see a empty page, I'm like, man, a story is about to be there. And then before you know it, you got this whole new world that you done created. And Finding Faith was just like watching this woman who's played by Paula Patton, watching where she started out at after a devastating loss. She lost herself. But then to see where she ultimately came to, and sometimes, you having people that love you and people that support you, that's what helps you to get to that point. But you made the choice yourself. People can encourage you and do all that stuff, but until you make that point yourself to do something about it, that's the only way change could come.
So in writing this film, what did you learn about yourself as a writer?
Man, I learned that to be your true self, to like really, because ultimately when I first got in this business, it's so funny. I came into this business with you come into it with a certain heart, but then the industry say, no, you gotta do it this way in order to make money. So you end up losing your voice. And trying to do everything you can based off what the industry say. But when I became successful and started making money, it's when I found my own voice. I went back to who I was as a writer. I just learned more about business, of course. And I just learned from this film even more, just be your authentic self. Because when you speaking from the heart and you being true to who you are, you're gonna connect. I always say a heart reaches a heart. And people wanna see authenticity, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, you know, and one thing that we got so much from this film, I mean, from people crying to emails and TikTok, and I'm like, I was just blown away. Like, I even heard people was turning their life over to God in the theater because they connected with this character in such a powerful way where they saw themselves. Where people don't always go through a tragedy like this, but we all lose something. We all lose something. We all know what it's like to be at the bottom and have to climb back up. So that's what it taught me, just to be true to who you are and speak your own voice.
No, that's very important, because something that's authentic, people are going to gravitate to it, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like food. If you have some real Mexican food, you're going to love that, but you might have other people that might not want to eat Taco Bell or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. They want the real deal that's cooked. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing with this film. It's touching. It touched me, and I know it touched others. And seeing it, and it's because you wrote from a pure point, coming straight from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So during the filming of this and the production, recently we saw some of the stunt work that was encapsulated in the film. Did you encounter any obstacles? And if you did, how did you use them in continuing to make the film?
Well, with every film, you run into obstacles. You know, that's why it's good to have a great team. I got a great business partner, Tatiana Chikova. It's just like, you're gonna run into obstacles all the time. It's just me as a director, I try to block out that and focus on what's in front of me, but I'm always amazed at the end. Like, I'm like, oh my God, that was going on? But I think through the years, I've learned that you're always up against budgets. You're always up against time. And that's why you gotta have a good first AD and you gotta have a good line producer, because it's their job to control you and keep you from yourself. And you know, so we knew, like, okay, I'm like, this scene right here, we need 100 extras. And she like, well, you know, 100 extras gonna cost $15,000. Like, what? Like, that's real talk. And then, so you gotta like cut it down. She like, well, all thing we can have is 35 extras, you know? How can we make that work? And so you start being creative, like, okay, then let's move some to this side over here, and let's kind of shoot this way. Then we can spread them all. If we got the shot from the back of the church, then you can spread them across, and then you can get the arm. You know, it's so many film secrets. And then, you know, I'm a master at VFX too, so I understand that so much. And when it come down to post, I'm like, okay, can you? When I talk to my VFX supervisor, I'm like, I need to put some people up there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's so many tricks of the trade you could use, but yeah, it's the standard, man. Like, and then let's don't talk about the stunt. That stunt was like simply amazing, because when I initially got this film greenlit, it was greenlit based off the stunt.
Oh wow.
Based off the stunt. And they was like saying, I don't know how you're gonna pull it off, but if you can pull that off, and it came out originally the way I hoped it would, the way I visualized it, but I prepared for it didn't come out that way. Because if the van would have landed on his head upside down, the shot, I had to like figure out, I had a backup plan, like how are we gonna be able to like get him to pull the kids off if the bus upside down? But fortunately, man, the bus rolled and then it landed upright in the original position with the door facing the area across the street was exactly where I wanted to pull the kids to. So it came out, man, it was like, man, God was smiling on us and he felt like this was important because the shot came out perfect. It came out so perfect, and the production design team did an amazing job, and of course, you know, I've had all the VFX stickers there, knowing where I was going to put the fire at, things like that, and surprisingly, the stunt coordinator, I mean, he's been around so long. I mean, he was 75 years old.
Yeah, because I saw him in.
My God, he was 75.
In the clip that he had did, like Knight Rider and Fall Guy, which two shows I love watching.
Yeah.
The stunts in there were amazing.
I mean, the guy, Justin DeRosa, I mean, pretty freaking phenomenal. And I'm like, wow. So, you know, he had his family as a part of his stunt team. And to watch it all was like, you know, we had like about 5 cameras going at, you know, GoPros, one in the car, one on the road. I mean, it was simply amazing to watch, man. And you know, then you just run it. It's just, when it comes down to film, it's always something, but I done it so long and so much that in order for me to be surprised by something, it's hard because I done seen so much. So if it's something new come, I'm like, you know, you got to move the trailers out the road. You know what I'm saying? Or you got to do this, or got to do that. But it ain't too much that can surprise me in film unless the actress suddenly on an independent film say, you know what? I'm not coming out of my trailer for a whole day. You know, like that. Like then that would be like something new. But you know, because you up against the clock. You're up against the clock, but that's probably the only thing that can really, at this point, surprise me when it comes down to film.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit, just the reception from the initial release. Mm-hmm. From your experience and in talking to people, can you talk about that reception a little bit more? That the feedback that you got from the audience?
It was so powerful. I mean, I've had pastors call me and be like prophesying, saying, you know, what God is going to do with this film, and just, it was just so mind blowing. Churches we went to Ohio, and churches. I mean, we had like 4 IMAX theaters sold out, over 1,300 people. And what people was like feeling, it was just something in these times that are going on right now, people yearning for more of God, but from a genuine place, not from a place of, can you give me $500 type, but I'm talking about a yearning for truth, a yearning for God that's beyond politics, that's a yearning for God that's like, God, I need you in these times right now that can make sense of everything. And the only person that you can find comfort in, honestly, is tapping into something that's bigger than who we are as humans. Because oftentimes humans can't understand this because humans are part of the problem. like humans are part of the problem. But the only person that can really bring some understanding and bring some peace is putting your faith in God. Because honestly, before I did this film and being in Hollywood for so long, when it came down to sharing my faith, I was like a little bit, uncomfortable with that, and because you kind of like, you're in this industry, Hollywood industry, so you ain't vocal about that type of stuff. You ain't even sure about it yourself, But it was through this film right here that it actually helped me to rediscover my own faith, and I wrote it. And so when I feel like that it was so inspired by God, this film was inspired. It didn't just come from me, something bigger was using me to write it, and it actually helped me to be more vocal about my own faith, to realize that, man, it's through the power of Jesus, through the love of God, through things like that makes situations and films like this to be able to come out and be able to bless the world the way it's doing.
Yeah, definitely. That's how God works. Because I mean, He works through you, and working through you, He works on you. When He works on you and works through you, it's gonna be massive in the change and then the effect that you have on others that you won't even necessarily know.
You don't even realize. Like, I mean, the message that I get from people, and still to this day, I'm looking at social media and people still like, oh my God, and you can tell the age of people when I'm looking at these messages. They like, is there a way I can get a DVD? Is there a DVD? If this movie coming to the Philippines, can I get this? I get that. I'm like, DVD?
They want it.
We even had a successful screening in the UK. Okay. You know, a private screening. Like, I mean, they rented, a lot of churches rented it out, everything. So it's been like, it has affected a lot of people.
Paula Patton's performance and the way that she embodied the character of Faith and the whole transformation from what she was to what she became and developing her relationship with God going through that tragedy. Can you speak about her performance in that role and how she, just made it happen?
Paula, I mean, I was a fan at first but watching her, I became such a huge, even more of a fan, because she didn't just like perform, she embodied it. She stayed method the whole time. She was so phenomenal. She's a phenomenal person, but as a talent, what she did with the film, she lived it. She lived it. I mean, I remember seeing Paula when the scene, you could just see Paula coming, and when it's a dark scene day, because it's like, you got some upbeat days, and then you got because she was going through the trauma and all that stuff. When she walked, just a cloud over her. I'm like, she's like, I'm not in the mood today, Laz. But then you saw the other days where when the scenes was happy, it was like a complete shift. She, from the time I met her and we sat down for like 5 hours and we was going through the script, I'm like, you Faith, because the soul of the character began to speak through her. I'm like, you tell me what she would say. When I'm saying, if you don't think she'll say it that way, how do you think she'll say it? And as a director, that's what I try to do. Like when I'm dealing with actors, if I'm hiring you to be this character, I want you to be so embodied by the soul of this character. It ain't my job to tell you what to say. Don't tell me, don't write. You don't have to say it exactly the way I wrote it. How do you think they would say it? And I could tell if you way in left field. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, it ain't no way they would say it like that. That let me know if you connected with the character, because oftentimes when I tell that to actors, we are oftentimes so in sync that even the ideas they suggest, it's never ridiculous. It's really like, wow, because Keith David, when I worked with Keith David on this project, I wrote, because I worked with Keith David before, so I know his voice, and I'm also a fan, and I told him, I said, man, I wrote this role for you in this film, and he was like, oh, I'm honored, So even though a few of the little things was off about how he would say it, but he took it and made it his own. I'm like, how can you argue with Keith David? And Loretta Devine, I'm like, what do you think, Loretta?
That's cool. So with this Hulu release, it's an extended version. Mm-hmm. What are some aspects of this extended version that you feel will touch the viewer and maybe even surprise the viewers?
I think that the Hulu version, which is so amazing, that Lifetime, the way the thing is, like with all these networks, that it starts off there, then it's licensed over to the Netflix, the Hulu, and whatnot, and all the other majors. Now, when something is on Lifetime, because Lifetime is regular TV, it's only 86 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So it's shorter, so, it's like I tell people, it's almost like if you, everything is like very, no fat, basically. Very like, you gotta move it, no fat. So what we experience with the Lifetime version compared to when people saw the theatrical version, some people they like, man, the theatrical was so much, it was long, it was like 15 minutes longer, you know what I'm saying? So they were like, this just moved faster. So with the Hulu situation now, Hulu basically, because Lifetime licensed the extended theatrical version from us. So you got it's just extra longer scenes you see with Paula and Loretta, just like a lot of little details, a lot of little fat, basically, that kind of helps the film breathe. That I think that the actors love, and when when it was in theaters, people were just crying the whole time, and they did it off the TV version too, but now it's just a few more little emotional buttons are pushed even more. But I think that people that see this, and what I love about the Hulu situation is it's going to 100 million more people. Like a lot of people that have Lifetime may not have Hulu. Even if it's out of 100 million, you got 20 million that don't watch Lifetime, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the whole game plan with all of this stuff anyway, going to Hulu, you reach a new audience, a new experience, and I'm just excited to see how it impacts people different, from regular TV.
As we talk about faith and how important it is to have it in our lives, can you share an experience that shaped your faith or sharpened your faith?
Man, it's so many different levels, because you can always go back to when you're a kid, but I always think that nowadays I think that, man, just at this point in my life, I can just go back to watching how God works, because I remember when I did go back about 6 films ago, right? Around 2020, I was at a point where, you go through this business and you don't achieve. You can't keep doing film if you ain't making no money from it. And I did this one film. Then I'm like, man, surely this gonna open doors, is gonna do it. It was a short film, spent a lot of money on it. And it went nowhere. It was a great movie, didn't get nowhere. I'm like, oh. I said, and my kids was already born at that point. I'm like, one more shot. I'm like, because when you internally, when it's time to because throughout all these years, you can verbally say I'm gonna quit, but in your heart, you can't do it. But I knew this was it. I had no choice. I'm like, I got giving myself one more film. And then that's it. If this don't do nothing, I'm done. And this the way God works. That was the film that broke through. That one more, and that's the one I sold to BET, called Never and Again. But that's the way God works. We give ourselves timelines, but when you know deep down that this is it, it's like when somebody, a drug addict, right? It's a lot of drug addicts be at their breaking point, but God know when you really ready to surrender. It's only when you're really, really ready and you have no more choices. Your parents ain't giving you no more money. Your wife then kick you out. When you ain't got nothing else, that's the place sometime when God could use you. And God said, okay, now you're ready. Now I could change you. And that was the turning point in my film career right there. Because I'm like, and that's the first time I ever sold a film and actually made a profit. Yeah. I actually made money back plus extra and still making money off of it. But that was the magic of one of the experiences with God as far as the turning point in my career. I had done a lot of stuff before then, but as far as we only count financially when you're able to, be stable financially a lot of times. So that was it's been a lot of experiences where I've seen the magic of God and what he can do, but since we're talking about film, that was like a pivotal moment right there.
No, that's great because in that, you found faith. You found it. Mm-hmm. Right there. So, as a filmmaker, what do you feel is your voice, your perspective when you're making a film, when you're starting out writing, you're creating storyline and all that? What are you?
So you're saying what is my voice?
Yeah, what is your voice? Like,
my voice is being authentic. I want to, whatever I do, I speak from the heart. You know what I'm saying? I don't have people around me that can be truthful to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the true value of friendship and is being willing to sacrifice for each other and at the same time be able to like bring the best out of each other. And as a writer, my voice at this point in time is just being authentic. Like whether that's thrillers or whether that's drama, a faith-based, a holiday. I've had, over the past 5 years, I've had the top movies. Every movie I've done been like top or number one or whatever based off, and oftentimes it's based off of, me being authentic. Obviously authentic means telling a great story as well. But that's what I like to do, be true to myself, be true to be a good father, be a good husband. And I think all of that, being all of those things, is what make you great at what you do. I just always say if you have a toxic home and you have a toxic film set, how can you be creative?
Right.
Because as the director, you the one sets the tone for everything. You set the tone for the actors, you set the tone for the sets, you set the tone for your own home. And if you toxic, like, you know the answer. Yeah.
So what's next? Do you have any new projects that you can speak about?
Yeah. I got this amazing film because now we're just about elevating even higher. I got this one amazing project. I could say the name. It's called A Mother's Love. Man, it's a very high energy. The backdrop of it is drag racing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like very intense, very heartfelt film that I'm hoping to be in production with soon. And then, because at this stage right now, I try to have multiple different projects going on. And, and we also tapping into the holiday front on some capacity as well with a project. But as far as like in the cinematic space, it's that one film that I'm very, very excited about. I've completed the screenplay of that, and we are heavy in development of, moving to the next phases with that, and I'm hoping to be in production with that pretty soon. Look out for A Mother's Love next.
in the partnering with Lifetime for this project, how was that experience? How did it come about, and how has it been partnering with Lifetime?
Man, Lifetime been simply amazing. I mean, they loved the film. They understood it. They knew that this type of project would speak to their core audience. And it's been like, I mean, even to this day, after the film that came out, I still speak with acquisitions over there. And I remember talking to them early on about the project and the acquisitions, head acquisitions person over there. She was just getting emotional talking about it. And from the beginning, when the project came out, they reached out about the project. They reached out to us, and they saw the vision. They saw like this would. They had a faith collection going on at Lifetime. They like, okay, we would love to release this during our faith collection, and I think that when it came out, it was one of the top performing in the faith collection, and yeah, and it's been like a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I look to continue to grow, continue to work with them, because right now it's been a more than amazing experience.
That's great. And as you continue with your projects, you're working with various actors and different people from different genres that you've worked with. Mm-hmm. How do you direct stars? What is your concept and the way that you interact with them and create a great set for the talent to perform on?
Being open, and I think that stars. That's a two-part question, because I remember working with stars when I didn't have as much experience as I got now. It was hard because they egos, you know what I'm saying? Your resume is what humbles people, you know what I'm saying? So I've worked with people in the past and then working with them now. It's just going in there knowing what you want, but yet understanding that that's why you hired them. You hired them because they're Keith David, they're Paula Patton, they're Loretta Devine, they're Stephen Bishop, and they're Romeo Miller, and all that, because I work with the Sky Blacks. I work with so many actors from all ethnicities. And because they're so good at what they do, you know what I'm saying? You hire them because they're good at what they do. So trusting them, understanding their vision, and understanding that they're about making a project the best it could be, I think going in there with that mindset, it just makes it easy to create something great, because first off, they feel invested. It's their baby just like it's your baby. And when you go in there with that open mind, you set the tone for the whole set. I've never had a toxic set. Never. Because I don't disrespect people. I actually like to build people up. So yeah. So
as you have this new release that's coming to Hulu, what do you feel? What do you see as being success with this new release coming out on Hulu?
Man, new opportunities, new people. It's almost like it's playing for a whole different audience. That I had a film, one of my previous films, the first one I did with Keith David was called A Miracle Before Christmas, right? It released on BET, but then it released on Tubi this past Christmas. And then just in 14 days, that was 1 million. Tubi got 100 million people, right? So, and I saw the numbers. It was like, it's like probably millions of more people that never seen BET watch the movie. So my point by saying that is like suddenly you taking, Lifetime here, and now you put it on Hulu. You got millions more people that's impacted, millions more people that are tuned in, and be like, wow, that movie was amazing, and things like that. So I'm hoping for just more lives getting changed, more I'm excited to see what comes out of it. That's what I'm excited to see, what comes out of it in this new space, this new opportunities, and I got my Hulu subscription.
Yeah. As well. That expansion that you spoke about with reaching another audience, because as you stated, there's so many different platforms, and when you can be placed on a different platform, you already know that I'm going to reach somebody new. And then what are they going to do? They're going to share with their friend. Hey, have you seen this on Hulu? It just came out. You got to watch it. Finding Faith just came out today on Hulu. You got to watch it.
That's how it is. That's how they're like, girl, Paula was acting a fool in there. No, they don't say Paula was acting a fool. They say Loretta. They say Loretta was acting a fool. like Paula, oh my God, Paula is so amazing. Loretta was amazing too, but she was acting a fool.
So as we talk about this being a film about faith, what is one misconception about faith films that you wanted to challenge? Because sometimes people try to box those films or just relegate them to a certain thing. But what is one misconception that you would like to challenge?
I like to write human stories. I don't necessarily like to write faith movies, but I like to write human stories that have a faith experience, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like to write stuff that's super preachy. Like, I like to write stuff with a preacher that so happen the story is wholesome, it's family oriented, but not necessarily like my goal is to convert people. And if you write, what made Finding Faith so good is the fact that people wanted to convert based off her experience because they saw themselves and they saw the power of God, not necessarily saying that in there, somebody preaching to them saying, turn your life over to Jesus, turn this and that. I think it's so much of that out here, and sometimes it gets ridiculous. Sometimes it gets so ridiculous I've seen so many faith-based movies, but the faith-based movies a lot of time are done not necessarily for the world, but for people in the church already. If it's done for people in the church just to strengthen their faith in the church, then it's achieving its purpose. But if you're trying to bring in new people, then you need to do a movie that's a human story and let people see it and let people develop their relationship with God by seeing the person in it, not necessarily trying to take them through, revival, by preaching to them the whole time,
No, that's it. It's almost like meeting people where they are, what you're doing, rather than throwing something that's going to make them feel judged.
Because what's so crazy is like, honestly, Loretta Devine in that movie is similar to a lot of older people within the church. You know what I'm saying? Very judgmental. That's why I always tell people, in Finding Faith, both Paula and Loretta was right, and both was wrong at the same time. Like they both. Because I can understand, like, as a mother probably would go off on the daughter-in-law. Your son, you didn't go with him, and then he, But at the same time, you understand Paula situation as well. You know what I'm saying? She was trying to hold it down. She was trying to do this and try to do that. So both of them was right and both of them was wrong. And at the same time, God met both of them where they were. Because by the end of it, you see a change in both of them. And it's never too late to change if you're open to it and grow.
So where can people follow you and connect with you online and see everything about the film, the behind the scenes, and learn more about it?
Well, they can tap into my personal social, LazRael Lison, LazRael Lison, Lison. You know, I also got my personal Facebook, but then you also have the Finding Faith movie page on Instagram as well. You know, you got that. You can find out as much, stay updated on everything. It's the Finding Faith. It's easy to find, and yeah, just support it. Go out and watch it. Let's make it a hit, man. Let's make it because the industry gives you more based off the demand. That's basically what it is. If they see something hot and the demand is there, and these numbers are just through the roof on Hulu, you know, I don't see no Finding Faith 2. I don't know. Be like, how do you top what you did in one movie? And you know, and I gotta say this, only because, and it may be other races like this too. So I'm not isolating particular races, but I'm about to make this comment because I'm black, right? Black people always want a sequel. They always want a part 2. Like, how you gonna? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, how can you make a sequel of this? But they want a sequel. Every movie I've done, they always say, I want a part 2. Like, am I lying?
No, you're valid. And I'll be like, sometimes like, no, it's just gotta stand as is.
Even Ryan Coogler, like, but I understand that the studio want a sequel with the Sinners, you know.
Yeah.
He don't like a sequel. How you gonna make a sequel? Yeah.
That's great. Well, LazRael, we really appreciate you talking with us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
And sharing everything concerning not only this film, but your history, your faith, and your career. And we wish you much success and continued blessings going forward.
Thank you, and I'm so excited for everybody to tune in to this Hulu, Finding Faith on Hulu, coming up.